Here's a good example of what actually happens when you can't get the lag screws in because something's in your way, like this piece of fascia board. You can see that the bolts on the bottom that are going into the post are not obstructed in any way. You could actually take an impact wrench and lag drill those babies right into the wood, or even pre-drill a hole. However, the ones on the top are at an angle, and that's because they couldn't get a drill in or a impact wrench small enough to actually put those babies in there. Now there are other ways that you can put these in correctly. You could always get a smaller drill and drill in, and of course you could always get a longer drill and drill through the fascia board if needed and patch the fascia board. But once you put a lag screw in like this and it isn't in there perfectly, realistically the brace or the bracket wouldn't be doing its job. And of course, if anything ever happened, like if an engineer required something like this and the building ever fell down, it would obviously be the contractor's fault, and of course could be held liable for that. And again, that's why I'm making my videos, to point out a few things to people that you should think twice about, and this is a good example of one of them. Here's a different view of the lags, and you can see that they're at an angle. And again, like I said, if they're not to the specifications of the manufacturer, if everything isn't installed perfectly to the manufacturer's installation instructions, then realistically this bracket could be just a complete waste of time. So again, if an engineer draws something out and you need to install it, and a city inspector or building inspector needs to examine it, then something like this could be a problem. And don't think twice. I've seen it before where they make the engineer or the people in charge, again the city could do it, but they'll actually make you replace the post or the beams that were damaged because the bracket was installed incorrectly. Next up on the list is the missing bolt, which tells us that they even used the wrong bracket. They do sell these brackets. This is a T bracket or a T-shaped bracket, and of course they have L-shaped brackets which would have done a better job here. So again, I mean, this thing kind of reeks that there is no inspection. There wasn't any engineering done. This didn't go through the city, no building permits or anything like that. And it's probably more along the lines of a repair that was being made. But something like this, whenever I get a chance to take pictures of things like these, gives me an opportunity to provide you guys with a little more information of what to do and what not to do under certain circumstances. Now, I already mentioned this, but like I said, you could take the fascia board off. And of course, that would allow you to drill straight or use an impact wrench. But there are certain circumstances where the fascia board isn't going to be easy to take off, so that would not be an option. In a case like this, you have a metal roof on top of a solid sheeted 1x6. So I'd imagine this fascia board might not be easy to take off, so that wouldn't have been an option. However, you can, like I said earlier, drill through the fascia board into the beam with a longer drill bit and then fill the holes. That would be one option. Again, that would be difficult. You could always place the bracket on the other side, or even choose other brackets, try and find another bracket to use to begin with. And of course, you could always use a smaller drill or an angle drill and drill the hole and use a wrench or a socket with a ratchet to screw the lag bolts in instead of an impact wrench.